This is Noel Tate, one half of the Velvet Drapes from Trapped in a World, the Howard the Duck podcast, and you're listening to Capes and Lunatics.
Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend D.G. Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, host of a Totally Turtle sports and gaming YouTube channel, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network.
Recording has started. In a world of capes and lunatics, of gods and monsters, there are those beings so dangerous that no single hero can face them alone. In those moments will rise Avengers. This is Avengers Declassified. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser. And with me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burger Pits.
Phil Podcast Perich.
Podcast. So glad you showed up, man.
Thank you.
Oh, man, this is great. This is the second half of the 12-issue miniseries of Black Panther, featuring Shuri as the Black Panther. She was rejected in the first half. She embraced the Panther in the second half. She had this great arc, and now she must solve the political problems of Wakanda. You can see the influences from this on our current movie, although obviously the two different universes are clearly diverged. Want to do this issue by issue, Phil? What do you want to do with this?
It's up to you. I mean, we could do it as one thing if you want.
Well, why don't you just start us off? Let's begin at the beginning, as they say, Phil. Philip, how does the story start?
I mean, we basically see Shuri taking, I guess, the throne or the head of state of Wakanda.
Mm-hmm. Although, that's the weird thing about this. This is one of these moments where Ramonda really is clearly the power behind the throne.
Yeah.
And you kind of get the feeling that Ramonda, and this is just a shout out to our Angela Bassett, who is so great in Black Panther, the entire Black Panther series, where you do realize that, like, all these young kid Black Panthers, they're kind of out there running around, goofing off, sowing their oats, being vigilantes and whatnot. And that's not really the statecraft that's necessary. But we do get a great scene of Shuri meeting the President of the United States.
Well, yes, Barack Obama, yes.
Who is Barack Obama in this, because, dang,
because it was 2009!
Well, you know what? And this is the thing. This is the thing about presidents of the United States. You can tell that there are artists who say, I want to draw this president in this scene. And it is either because I want to embarrass this president or I want to show how awesome this is.
Oh, Barack Obama was a big thing at that time. I don't know if you remember, but they were hyping an amazing Spider-Man cover he was on.
Yeah. Obviously, that was the opinion of Marvel, was Barack Obama cool. And, personal opinion, he was very cool. So, I'm sure there will be people that will say he didn't do this or did do that or did something less than they wanted. But, he was objectively the coolest president in my lifetime.
And they probably took that as the go sign, because I swear I heard somewhere, I thought he said in an interview or something that as a kid he was a fan of Spider-Man, and I can't remember if he's mentioned any other Marvel characters, but I'm pretty sure he mentioned Spider-Man, so...
Well, yeah. Well, everyone's a fan of Spider-Man. I mean, he was in the daily... the thing about Spider-Man that people forget is that he was actually the one Marvel comic you could get for free. Because Stan Lee and his brother continued to write Spider-Man all of my life, and it was wonderful. And that is where you first meet Spider-Man. And, it's funny, because, they had tried to, do some Batman ones when Batman was having his renaissance with the animated series, but as a strip format, Spider-Man just had the staying power. In fact, I remember there was a very big deal in my local paper, because they dropped Spider-Man, and the torrent of hate mail they received. I mean, they dropped Spider-Man at the time when email first became popular. So it's oh my gosh, we don't even need a stamp now to complain. Oh, the early days of the internet, kids. It was literally the Wild West. But that's Spider-Man. But it's cool for, Barack Obama to get to sit with Shuri and to have this little moment in the comics. But I do think the overarch of this is Shuri, much like the Shuri we see in Wakanda Forever, is not as focused on what she needs to be, and she is consumed by a lot of anger. And to me, it works for a very interesting parallel, seeing the current Wakanda Forever Shuri, who is consumed by anger, spoilers, and this Shuri, likewise, for very different reasons, but with largely similar results, also consumed by anger. So I do find that interesting. We get Everett Ross in this. That's nice. Doesn't quite look like our Frodo. Was he Frodo Baggins? He was Frodo, right?
I don't know.
Oh, he was one of the. He was. I want to say he was Frodo. I know he wasn't Bilbo. I think he was Frodo. He wasn't Samwise Gamgee, because that was Sean Astin. So, but anyway, it's actually Everett Ross for a few scenes before he gets blown up, as you do. Unfortunately, people get blown up a lot in comic books, although only just enough blown upness to
Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman. Yeah, that's the actor. Yes. Yeah, that's the actor in the movies. I was referencing him to other references. Yes, but Martin Freeman. Actually, now I'm just trying to. No, yeah, okay. Now I'm remembering. Okay, because I'm remembering our first six. Because wait, did he fight? Was there the whole explosion and Namor thing? No, that was previously on. We did that. This is after that, and this is where Shuri's trying to mend the world stage. And of course meets Martin Freeman, and we get our first group of color guard bad guys, it's also I'm just gonna say here. So we're gonna have each one is red, blue, green, but they actually do have purple and yellow off in the background. So they have multiple team members, but they just wear these vibrant blue suits, or they wear specific colored suits for identification of each other in the field. And part of me wonders if that's as necessary as it seems, But anyway, within the story, Everett gets burnt up, but they do fight battles, and we do see that this is the entire implication of this is that vigilantism will not be tolerated, but we are very open to teamwork with you. And this is going to become the defining theme of the next few issues. Because, of course, the teamwork is what we want as readers, but from a story perspective, there has to be some establishment of the characters to be able to operate on their own. And, of course, vigilantism is not tolerated. I'm just trying to think here because I'm trying to remember what happens.
Well, when they're trying to track down, whoever sent these, killers, and it's we found Stark tech, Wakandan tech, Atlantean tech.
Yeah, although, this is my thing on all of this, and this is always my thing. It's it's all these techs, but when we actually get to our villain reveal, the Broker, it is literally just the Vulture from Spider-Man, which is that he just after all of these fights, there's a lot of junk on the ground.
Yeah.
And people gather up that junk, and they piece it back together, and they figure out what is the parts that make it work. And they reverse engineer to make it work. Maybe less than other times, but, that is the idea. And that people are still shocked by this is impressive. Because there is a scene that they're like, well, it's certainly Atlantean design, and no one can mimic Atlantean design, even though obviously we have all of the Atlantean schematics on our thing that we can identify this as Atlantean design. Which is, again, it's weird when you think about it from that perspective. Because obviously they have Atlantean design schematics. They could make an Atlantean design thing. So just finding Atlantean schematics doesn't mean it's real. They even make the point that, this actually has these qualities of Wakandan designs, but these were old Wakandan designs. We don't use these anymore. And it's like, it just strikes me as weird that that's like one of these big smoking guns towards Namor. Because as you go through it, you will see that there is this effort to make it towards Namor. To make Namor our overarching villain of the piece. Which...
Honestly, it doesn't take much to paint Namor as the villain a lot of times.
No, and to be fair, he is a villain at this point. I mean, he is working with the Cabal and all that stuff. But prior to this, first off, we already know Doom is the villain. Because we do know that although Namor did this is a how catch 'em rather than a whodunit. Unless, of course, you're just picking up the book at 6. So that's where this gets weird. Because they do a later final villain reveal, and it is Doom. But really, honestly, it's like, oh yeah, Doom, that makes perfect sense since we saw him in the first couple issues. So that makes absolute sense that Doom would be the villain. One of the things we find interesting in here is T'Challa going into the mystical realm. And this is interesting expressly as how it leads to his evolution as a character after this, as the King of the Dead and all of that stuff. Although I think they may have retconned King of the Dead now. I don't know what they're doing in Marvel Comics now. Maybe he's just got a foot in both worlds.
I'm not sure where, but Shuri might have taken some of that in his place. I'm not too clear on those details, but
yeah. It's a little complex, but we can rest assured that as the books are going forward, they're going to be a little focusing a bit more on Shuri as the Black Panther, a little less on T'Challa, because that's what they have to do. And in this, again, like I said, much like the movie that recently came out, we are seeing Shuri consumed with anger, and that anger is driving her in a way that is making her neglect things. And as people are seeing things moving forward, we do see how that affects the larger structure of the story and the larger structure of Wakanda and the like, because, well, Ramonda and Ororo, who, I'm confused, are they together? Are Ororo and T'Challa still together at this point? Or have they, because they call her the Princess Regent.
Yeah.
But I think they also once referred to him as T'Challa's ex-wife. So I don't know if they're still together in this or what.
Yeah, I forget when they got separated, but yeah, I don't know if she just stepped in because he got injured.
Maybe it's like a really loving, open relationship now. It's like we were married once, but now it's like, being a superhuman mutant is kind of a big deal in my life. So, I can't be a queen, But here she is queening it up, and she's like the first one to realize, whatever's affecting the crops in Wakanda, it's not just a drought. Like, droughts happen, sure, and I can fix that with my magic powers. And you also get, one of my favorite tropes in this is the talking head programming in Wakanda. Specifically the Crossfire format, which, kids, okay, I don't know if you know this now, But back in the day, this was a thing that was done, where you would have someone from the left and the right, each sort of putting up their straw men to be knocked down, and that was called Crossfire. And it was a very popular series. You also had the McLaughlin group and several other situations where you had this assemblage of talking heads that would present both sides of an issue, and that was how we would get our news back in the day. So it's almost quaint when you look at it now that you would have the liberal and the conservative in his dashiki, basically talking about that witch, Aurora, that outsider witch. And I love that, that she's a mutant, she's a witch, she's not Wakandan. All the reasons to hate this person, which is, as Aurora herself would say, how quaint.
But you mentioned the what is it, the what is it, the broker, the dealer,
the broker. Yeah, I wonder who this guy is.
Yeah, but
his name is Walter at some point.
Yes, but who does it seem like he's working with? A certain college dropout?
Yeah, no, and again, we saw him in like the first issue, so it's like, oh yeah, if the two villains we see are Namor and Doom, and we see they're trying to frame Namor, who is the mastermind behind this? Doom. And this is actually my biggest disappointment of this series, because of course it ends before Doom, is that it kind of ends on an Empire Strikes Back note. Where it's like, yay, we did the thing, but also, oh no, now Doom has entered the building. But we'll get to that in a bit. I kind of felt weird about the Deus Ex Fantastic Four-ness of it, because it is literally just like, Shuri's just like, I have a thing to do, I must do it, and Reed's like, hey, look, I know Namor, I know T'Challa, we're all old friends. Can we talk about this?
Do you need some mansplaining?
Exactly. Well, but honestly, to be fair, it's like it makes sense in the context.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like how reality can sometimes be uncomfortable. And it is. Like, it's not an unreal situation. I'll just throw this out there. If this had been written today, Sue Storm would have been there.
Yeah.
Because that's even the weirdest part. It's like, where's Sue Storm? And maybe there's a legitimate reason why she's not in this story, but I don't know what it is. And that is a worrisome quality of the story. But yeah, so they do. There's a whole thing with some other person who does like laser whips, because laser whips, that's technology that has not been done a lot.
No.
Yeah, that's basically Shuri's like antagonist in this,
mm-hmm.
and I think she's supposed to be. I don't even know what she's supposed to be, but her name is like Okaihi or something like that.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, she's a thing, and they do this whole cat mouse thing. Except she keeps on calling her the bad kitty cat, and yada yada yada. I'm not sure how I feel about any of that, except for the fact that that this person gets beat up a lot. Because she is fighting Shuri, and she is the protagonist of the story. And Shuri has her team, her pride, which is the Princess Regent's Intelligence Directive Enforcement, or something along those lines. Which I love when they come up with the acronym first, is what I can say. As it plays out, though, these two have 3 battles, which eventually leads up to this person being almost not killed, because she did not have a conflagration protocol in her armor. Everybody else, all the other hacks, have a protocol that says if they get captured, they get inflaminated, but not her. So that's a positive, I guess, for everyone concerned. As it plays out, as it played out, spoilers, it was Doom all along. And it winds up with this big fight because as they're getting all this information, they send the information to Reed Richards, which is honestly kind of like that first thing you should do in the superhero world. If you have Reed Richards' number, maybe reach out to him. But I get the feeling that maybe it's like one of these things where because he's always right, maybe people are like just rude about it, and they're like, I don't want to have to talk to Reed Richards. Reed Richards is just going to say this thing that's either going to verify what I already know, or he's going to make me feel like an idiot for thinking that. And I don't know quite what to do with that knowledge base.
I mean, unless it's just, you go to Reed, you're acknowledging Doom, that he's behind this stuff. Some people might just try to ignore Doom, it's just like, what?
Well, because that's the thing is, I was waiting for Reed to say, I was waiting for anyone to say, well, gee, it's all this great encryption that only Reed Richards could have conceived of. Who do we know who might have been able to do something similar? Was it Whitney Bentley? Bentley Whitman? The wingless wizard? No, it was not. It was a mere college dropout named Doom. Oh, Philip. That is its own mess, but as it plays out, we wind up our season with the reality that Doom War is coming, and Doom War will have, of course, the Great Vibranium Heist, which we aren't going to see, and a little bit of gold fingering on the subject that we're also not going to see. But, I liked it. It was a really good series. What do you think, Phil?
How did you like that? I mean, there was only a little bit of it, but in that last issue, some villains get upgrades, and we actually get like a couple shots of your buddy Ben Grimm fighting Crusher Creel.
Yeah, which also was, I mean, it's nice in its own way, but I don't know if I like Creel juicing, because that was effectively the argument, was that, oh yeah, here's all these villains, they'll be fine because they've all been juicing with these alien tech and hormones and the like, and I get that, but at the same time, I'm also a little disappointed by the idea.
And it's like, you really don't have to juice Creel. It's basically like, here, put this piece of adamantium in your pocket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which he's done before.
Yes.
Before he got destroyed by what's his name, the guy with the quantum band.
Quasar. I know. Yeah. That's why I broke out of one of his bubbles. He's like, luckily I have this adamantium in my pocket.
Well, that was going to be his good luck charm. I love that. That's actually one of my favorite issues. That was during Acts of Vengeance.
Yes.
Where, he's like, okay, I've always been a loser as a fighter, but you know what? That's because I've just never absorbed the right thing. So I'm going to go to the one place that I know there is adamantium. I'm going to beat up everybody, because at the end of the day, even though you're securing adamantium, there's only so much you can do as far as security.
Because he was scared, because you know who he fought before Quasar, right?
Well, yeah.
Joe Fixit.
Joe Fixit. Oh, did you see the new Joe Fixit series coming?
Yeah. At the end of the Maestro, was it the end of the Maestro series? They said, in 2023, we're getting a Joe Fixit miniseries from Peter David. Yeah.
I'm worried about that. I don't know. I don't like to go back with the untold tales stuff. It's not my bailiwick. I know it is for many people. But it's like, I read the whole Joe Fixit run when it came out, and first of all, I never really got it as a concept, but if it gets me more Marlowe, I guess that's enough right there.
I mean, at least it's by the same writer, right? It's by Peter David, so
yeah, and Peter David does have a lot of respect for his own work, and You know.
But I mean,
and also disrespect for his own work, which I love about Peter David. Peter David's like, I'll rewrite it a different way if you want, you know.
But I mean, the whole Joe Fixit Las Vegas thing, it was just basically turning that concept upside down, where it's just like, you know, now Hulk is the one who has the life, and he has to worry about Banner coming out and ruining his life.
Yeah, and I understand that as a premise.
Yeah,
I don't know if it works in practice, because at the end of the day, it's always still just, you know, I guess the problem with it is that Joe Fixit, at the end of the day, is not as interesting as he thinks he is. If I'm going to be rude about it, he's no maestro. That's what I'm going to be honest with you about, you know. Professor Hulk can pull that off. Joe Fixit, he seems like a personality fragment. He seems like someone who is informed almost entirely by the fact that he is part of some other story, you know? Because he is. I
mean, more than any of the other Hulks, pretty much he's more Banner than most of them. But it's like it's all the dirty little aspects of himself Banner doesn't like to let out. He funnels them through Joe.
Well, that's and that is one of the weirdest things about the Hulk is that in his, like, you know, if you've ever read the really early Hulks, and they weren't really differentiating Banner from the Hulk as much as you might.
Yeah.
He was much more of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of thing where it's like, I'm the Hulk, I'm angry and I'm powerful, but I'm also still Bruce Banner and I am still the smartest man in the world. That was a very common trope they played with there. They actually do that expressly when he first fights the Great Gargoyle, which was, hey...
Hello, Turtle.
Turtles in sports, man. I love that intro, by the way.
You love the intro, like, Charlie? Yes.
I love that. Well, I love that he is talking Turtles, because honestly, I know the Turtles get a lot of love from my generation. It's nice to know that the kids still like the Turtles, you know? He
just likes the brain. Well, he likes Turtles, but most of his show is about sports and a little bit of gaming.
Okay. Well, we know sports is just Dungeons and Dragons for people who like to run. People who like to watch people run.
And he likes he likes numbers, so stats, and yes.
Statistics are great, and I do love that. And honestly, you know, I'll have him pick our Super Bowl wins this week, and we'll all make millions.
There you go.
It's a flawless scheme, Phil. But anyway, moving right along.
Anyway, Joe Fixit.
Joe Fixit, which isn't even in this book, except that, you know, just a reference. But yeah, I mean, we get to the little island at the end, and again, an interesting reference when it's weird when you read these books and then you watch this movie. Like, oh, that kind of reminds me of what they did here. The only difference is that in this movie, Shuri gets him on the island. She beats the heck out of him, exhausts him with the fire flashes, but then still lets him get to the water. And it's like, at a certain point, man, are there no projectile like cables in this suit, man? Just like throw an adamantium cable around that guy and just say, no, stay. But I guess they needed that because they needed to have the Deus Ex Fantastic Four show up. And that is how we get to the end of that scene, which gets to the big fight at the end. Yeah, I mean, it's a little frustrating where we end in this on 12 because it's clear that there's a whole story next with Doom War that we're not going to get. And I remember reading this when it first came out, and I remember, like, I didn't mind that, we're going to Doom War next because that's just next month. I'll go pick that up. But in this context, Phil, it's super frustrating to say, and that's where we're going to end it. Doom has now entered the vault of Wakandian vibranium.
Do you want to do Doom War next week?
I mean, how many issues is it? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
And to be honest with you, I was very disappointed by Doom War, so I don't know if I want to do it. Because that's the whole thing of Doom War. Is like Doom War ends with what I refer to as a Goldfinger maneuver, which is they effectively spoilers for this series. Doom steals the vibranium, but then they make all of the vibranium inert except for some. But as I made a point, because I actually wrote a letter to them, I don't think it ever got published, but I said effectively what they did was they just tripled the value of vibranium by making vibranium that was outside of their country inert. That basically they just said, oh, well, you guys still want vibranium? Well, we do have a small amount left, but it'll cost you. So it was an interesting way they ended it. I did not like how they ended it. I don't know if we needed to do more.
Okay.
But it is frustrating to end on the intro to do more. This was something they did back in the day where they would end on one thing, go into another thing, because this is all during the Dark Reign nonsense. But you know what, Philip? To speak of ending and then saying, oh, by the way, here's another book you need to pick up to find out what happens next. Let's talk Murderworld Avengers.
Oh, yes.
Oh, goodness. This is number one, because they're all going to be number ones now.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this with Jim Zub when we talked to him in September.
Yeah, but he gave no spoilers.
Well, yeah, no.
So here's the thing, and this reminds me of my great pitch. This is my pitch for something. Man Marco's supervillain fantasy camp, where Man Mountain Marco creates a fantasy camp for middle-aged people to come and play out being a superhero with real supervillains. And you'll have Man Mountain Marco and the Porcupine and just a bunch of B-list supervillains, but people that if you know, and they would just run you through your paces, train you how to be a superhero, let you play with some weird Stark Tech technology that hopefully you don't blow yourself up with. And this is a plot for a storyline that I think is brilliant. They didn't do that. This is literally just the Hunger Game. Well, no, this is more, not the Hunger Games. Tristan, what's the show on Netflix with the Korean people?
Squid Game?
Squid Game, yeah. So this is Squid Game, except not with people desperate for money, just with people who want to kill people.
And one person who was tricked into doing it.
Yeah, which is just dumb.
Arcade.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. This is why, Arcade, he's a joke. Arcade is a joke. He is always a joke. No one respects Arcade.
Well, I mean, look what he's doing now. Instead of messing with superheroes, he's just picking random people, and it's just how many was there? 200 or something? He's like, only one of you will survive.
They all want to die horribly. But then you don't need to bring someone into it just because he revealed that you exist. It's called publicity, Arcade.
Well, I think is it more like, shut up, I don't want the X-Men or Spider-Man or whoever to show up.
Well, although, to be fair, if he didn't want that, then he could have burned down his old place.
That's true.
That's the thing. It's like, I was stupid and sloppy and left my previous Murderworld standing to be an internet meme on the, it's just, on every level, it blows. Not as a story. The story is engaging and terrific and fun to read.
Yes.
But it's like every motivation of Arcade is annoying. I do like the LMD Avengers, so that's fun. I love when Captain America starts singing his song. Captain America throws his mighty shield.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that our protagonist is a mutant, and he uses his powers to get to the end.
Was a mutant?
Well, that's an interesting question, Phil.
Oh.
Especially since we don't know what his mutant powers are yet.
Oh, true.
That's the thing. So they kill him, and that's great. Because, no special powers allowed here. We're all just supposed to be just top-of-the-line humans. But at the same time, Philip, then why did you invite this person in? Why did you not do the back story information to figure out if they were a supervillain?
Well,
why did you let yourself get called out on this whole nonsense and then address it. Because he's streaming all of this nonsense.
I know.
It's like until he blocks his streaming, everyone knows Murderworld exists. Everyone knows he's been invited to do the thing. Which is, gee, do you think that's why the next issue, Murderworld Spider-Man, has Black Widow on his trail?
Oh, that's good. That's going to be good, because, I mean, look at that. You see the little blurb on the bottom there, like, yeah, remember, he was part of that group at the beginning of the Kelly Thompson Black Widow run, who were, built that dream life for Black Widow, and then they're like, yeah, let's burn it down. That's not going to blow up in our face.
Everything blows up in Arcade's face. He's bad. He's the Elon Musk of supervillains, and thank goodness he has writers that just somehow make him survive.
I mean, it's one thing to kill a blogger, but it's like you made it personal with Black Widow. That is a big mistake.
Anyway, you want to go through another book here from many books that are like Avengers tangential or related.
Yeah, I was gonna say the majority, I think, of my Marvel books this week were Avengers. Yeah.
Which we want to do? We got Winter Soldier, Thunderbolts, She-Hulk.
You're going to do Captain America and Winter Soldier special.
Captain America, Winter Soldier starts off in 1922, Phil.
Yep.
Because it's the Century game. They didn't say when they started counting, and this time it's 1922. With apparently, I don't know who this guy's supposed to be, but he's like. Because, of course, the timeline doesn't work out for him to be the Baron of Latveria at the time that Dr. Doom overthrows them.
Yeah, I know.
So it's not like he's Doom-related, but he is... Although, dude, for real, this goes into my whole theory of Doom actually being related to the Latverian royal family because his grandmother was... in some way sexually congruous with the Dooms of the Latvian royal family, and were thusly the true line. Every idea I have, Phil, they're slowly picking up on. We meet all the other people, meet the first secret billionaire. We meet the artist
who wears a bull on her head.
Yeah, which is weird because how do you be an artist from the shadows? I don't know how that works. I like it as a concept. I like it as an idea. I don't know how it physically works. And we have the Wakandan, high priestess of technology, and she is, I guess, scientific advancement, which is great. But again, I guess we're to take from that all of scientific advancement from the last 100 years has come from Wakanda, which, good for them. And then all these people live for 100 years, which is good because we do see how they're growing, and we see that, oh, look at that, we got MODOK in the 50s.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Oh, wait, no.
That's not MODOK.
Arnim Zola.
That's Zola back in the 50s. Good for Zola. And then now. And we do have sweet little Bucky trying to do his whole, I'll assassinate you all. And they're like, dude, your character is called the Revolution. Do you think this is the first time you tried to shoot us?
Well, I think that's like a built-in role where it's like they can't physically attack each other, but they can try to send events in motion to take each other down. But yeah, they can.
Well, except none of them have ever been taken down. The only one that ever been taken down is the Revolution, because he says, "I am going to set you up so that you kill me, so you can be the Revolution, and you can bring us down from within." Which is honestly the most anti-revolutionary idea that you've ever heard. That the idea that you can destroy the system from within. But that is what Bucky is hoping for. And we also see that the artist actually likes him and likes the idea. But we also see the Dryad, who was also a sleeper agent in this, that Peggy Carter. And again, it's weird that it's young Peggy Carter. Again, not the old Peggy Carter that we saw die, and it's confusing. But in the end, Bucky's first move is Sharon Carter to Captain America. And then we do see that next issue is, we're going to see Captain America, symbol of liberty, and Symbol of Truth and
Sentinel
of Liberty dealing with this, but also Spider-Man. Oh no, that's Invincible. Iron Man #1. Where did I get that it was Spider-Man number? That it. I thought there was. Am I missing something? I don't know. Where Black Widow, where this story follows next.
Oh no, not Spider-Man. No.
Okay. Oh no, that was Murderworld. I'm getting my books confused, Phil. Okay. Do you want to throw out a book?
Yeah. Let me see what I got here. Oh, Iron Man 25 or 650, however you want to count it. Christopher Cantwell's last before they renumber it again.
Oh yeah, I saw the ads for the new Invincible Iron Man #1.
Yep.
He's getting to go on trial. Has Shield defend him, as you do.
I mean, it's pretty much just like a little one-shot story where, like, the New York wants to have an Iron Man day, and Tony's all nervous about making this speech, but then he doesn't show up because he finds this guy's having a heart attack in the subway. So Tony's like trying to save him, and then flies him to the hospital. But a lot of this is just like a wrap up because it seems like maybe new writer coming in, so Tony and Patsy may not see each other for a while. So.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, when you're Patsy Walker, you learn to live with the days you're in the white space.
But then, it ends with some of Tony's friends having a Iron Man day at Avengers Mansion. Thank you.
Oh, well, they're back at the mansion. Good for them. Or they rented it out for the week.
Well, Patsy's like, come on back to the mansion. He goes, the mansion? He goes, yeah, your old big house, remember?
Well, good for Tony. Good for them.
Yeah, but I mean,
they
still kind of mention that Riri has the Mandarin's rings, and like Patsy. I guess Patsy's staying in San Francisco to do some supernatural stuff. And...
As you do. All right. Did you read She-Hulk?
Yes, I did.
I liked this. This was an interesting thing because this is at once the core of science, but also the problem with super science. Because it is about the two of them, these two people, Mark and April.
Yes.
Who basically are saying, well, look, if gamma powers are a thing, then how do we crack the code? And they're working through it, and they're trying to figure it out, and, they come to that basic idea that, it's not really fair that just random people get superpowers. Or is that expressly the point if there's a larger plan? I'm a big believer that the randomness of superpowers is important. That is the crux of the Argonauts. Jason really was just being a dude one day, and his whole life gets turned topsy-turvy because he happened to meet Hera. That was not a good day for Jason, even though it led him to be blessed, which wound up being a curse. They eventually get their Hulk's blood, and they get themselves hulked out, just like our hero, Todd hulking. But as it turns out, Mark's hulking did not go the way they wanted it to. It's a lot harder because he's a little more hulky. And April gets her whole leadery, brainy thing, but that's not really necessarily what she wanted to.
Because they still Jen Walters' blood. So they're like, she's the most stable Hulk. It'll be fine.
Yeah, but we do see how the whole thing is. They have to match not just her genetic profile, but her radiation profile. And that's why they want to steal her radiation. That's why they were studying Jack of Hearts, who, of course, stole her radiation in the past.
There's the Joe Fixit ad. Oh god, it says as Kingpin. It's going to be Kingpin versus him versus Joe Fixit. Oh boy.
Maybe this is when Kingpin starts to say, you know what? I think I need to start juicing.
Or just hired help,
Yeah. Well, no, but I mean, just like when you think about it as a concept, as we've said about how much more powerful Kingpin has gotten.
Yeah.
Physically over the years, arguably since Spider-Man beat him up in his jail cell, you get this idea that this might be the point where he realizes, what, I may have underestimated my opponents. Because that's the thing is, for a lot of people, Joe Fixit probably, especially if no one knows Joe Fixit is the Hulk yet, that's just a dude with superpowers in Las Vegas, working as an enforcer. You know, and they don't know the difference, because it's hard to know the difference between the Hulk and Man Mountain Marco.
Yeah.
Because they can both burst through walls, they can both, you know, beat up all your goons. You don't know the power level until you actually test it against another equal and opposite power level. And, you know, that's sort of the moment when Kingpin would go like, oh, you're the Hulk. I understand this is a different situation. And maybe that's where he, like, basically makes the deal. Like, okay, look, you get Las Vegas, Hulk. I will let you be here, but just understand, if anyone knows you're still alive, you will have everyone on your butt. And quite frankly, you know, now that I know this gives me some leverage over you. So that may be the end of the plot line.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
Sorry, Peter.
That was most a lot of those Joe Fixit stories. It's like, we could take him. He's a little strong. We could take this like breaker guy, and they might by the end figure out he's the Hulk. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know. And so you go, Philip. Okay. You want to talk Thunderbolts or Shang-Chi?
Yeah. Let's talk Thunderbolts.
Let's talk Thunderbolts. Okay. Thunderbolts. Everyone's clearly got like some mind worms in them.
Mm-hmm.
Because it opens up in Dream World, and literally it is Persuasion and Egro talking about how popular their products are, which doesn't seem weird in and of itself until we get to the Barton line, where now apparently him and Bobby Morse are back together and they're all in love, and then they're called out. And Phillips, what's the first thing you notice that tells you that something's off in this panel?
Everyone, heroes and villains, are in like older costumes.
True. Yes.
And and I mean, we pointed it out, but even what's his face is literally like dressed like Cable.
Oh yeah. Well, my thing is that like Power Man is dressed like old Luke Cage.
Oh yeah. But I mean, Monica's wearing an old suit. Clint's wearing the old purple suit.
Yeah, and really, Ms. America's wearing the classic Miss America suit. So it's neat, and it's all old school. And we get Terminus showing up, which, not for nothing, I appreciate. Terminus is... So this is just a little bit of ephemera from my life. Like, the first comic book I bought at my local drugstore was probably, actually convenience store, was Fantastic Four versus Terminus.
Oh, yes.
With a She-Hulk. And it is just one of my favorite books. So anytime Terminus shows up, I love that. We do get the big fighty fight. We do get this whole thing. We do see that basically we get back to reality when we see that America Chavez has passed out, and Luke Cage in a not Luke Cage, but Power Man in a not quite Luke Cage look is still, he's still there, but he's giving her CPR, and then he goes out, and then basically it is just everyone going out when they go, and we realize that Clint Barton himself has gone out into the fantasy world. And where will that lead? Is this Nightmare attacking? Is this something else? We don't know yet, Phil. But they'll get another $3 out of us next month for it to find out.
And also, just like Murderworld, another Jim Zub production, so...
Yes, good old Jim. I do like Jim Zub's work. And by the way, for all of my dislike of the character of Arcade, that is not a reflection on the story that Jim Zub has written about Arcade. I do want to make that clear. I like the story. I just find the character to be...
Well, I think Jim's steering into the skid of, oh, hey, Arcade's bad at his job.
Really, he is. It's just like, again, like I said, like, there's that scene in Austin Powers, is it Austin Powers or Austin Powers? No, it's actually the original Austin Powers, where, like, the guy is, like, saying, do you have any idea how much money we make legitimately as a telecommunications agency? We don't need to be supervillains. They legalized supervillainy sometime in the 80s.
I mean, especially arcade. Yeah, I mean, he could make like an awesome theme park, like an amusement park, theme park,
Except
something.
for all of the murders.
Yeah, I'm just saying, take out the murder, make it a safe amusement park, and he can make how much, it could be the next Disney World,
Well, he could do it if he wanted to be a sound investor. That's the thing. Yeah. That is where Mad Mountain Marco's, supervillain theme camp can be a $1 billion idea, but if it was just about the billions of dollars, it wouldn't be arcade. That's the thing. He doesn't just want the money; he wants the respect, and he wants to kill people. But it's just this is the inherent problem with supervillainy. It's like you could do so much better and probably be happier if you just followed the rules. But because you don't want to follow the rules, you're going to wind up killing people for short-term happiness and then wind up being horribly battered by other people. Because eventually you're going to find people, because you're going to kill the wrong person. And that's one of those things where, when we were reading the Black Panther books, when they arrest Ororo, and I'm just waiting for Wolverine to go, nope, you don't arrest the X-Men. Sorry, I'm going in, and now all of Wakanda will suffer. But yeah, that's that. I do want to give a shout out to Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings, where we find out that there's 12 rings and a whole worm creature. It's a mess, but actually a fun book. I do like Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings. All right, Philip, would you like to tell people how they can reach us and give us money?
Sure. Yes, you can always email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And send us your thoughts, because next week we're going to be starting our Iron Man run. So next time we're going to do Iron Man 131 through 133, featuring Iron Man, the Hulk, and I believe it's the last issue, Ant-Man, Scott Lang. So,
look out for the little guy.
That's right. All right. So so find so send us your thoughts on that. Find your links to all the various social medias, including for Avengers Declassified, all the Facebook fan groups, the YouTube channel. Because again, every episode we do gets a video, so smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any of them.
Smash it!
And, of course, the Patreon, because, again, this is our labor of love. Every little bit helps because we're paying for this on our own. But $3 to $5 gets you early access to creator interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats.
I got the good mic out for you guys.
And superhero movie brackets. We will find the worst superhero movie of all time. It's coming, kids, pretty soon here. So subscribe now so you don't catch up and then come back for the series finale as we crown the winner. And pick yourself up some Capes and Lunatics, Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks merch. Find it all at Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics. Charlie Esser.
And you can always write to me in the old-fashioned email way, the way our mothers and fathers once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And follow me on whatever was Twitter. When I live tweet things, when I can, at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEssesser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz. Dear ladies and gentlemen, you have listened to the Secret Tales, the hidden stories of the Avengers. This has been Avengers Declassified, and this podcast will self-destruct eventually.
Remember, kids.
Yeah, good night, everyone. I enjoyed the story.
Lots of villains being themselves. Doom, Arcade.
Yeah, Arcade is so bad at his job. And Doom is... you know what it is they all want to be... They just want attention. And it's just like...
The all-known Twitter. Good night.
Hi, I'm Russell.
And I'm Justin.
And we're from the
Hold up. Listen up, you nerds. Tired of being a little goody two-shoes? Had enough of always talking about acts of courage and heroism? Well, you have come to the right place, I guess. Tomes of Evil is the comic book supervillain podcast, where every month we do a deep dive on a different comic book supervillain, as well as multiple sub-series on some of the most iconic foes of all time, including Darkseid, Doctor Doom, Scarecrow, and...
Name's Hobgoblin, and you're right on time for your funeral.
I better be getting paid for this. So what are you guys waiting for? Bring on the bad guys.
Tomes of Evil, a comic book